what?
We make it plain upon tables.
And that's what we're doing. We're making it plain upon tables. And we're just getting warmed up. And we're just getting warmed up. If you think you've seen something, you ain't seen nothing yet, man.
That's right.
This is nothing. The Most High is just warming up right now. Because soon, the Most High is just going to unleash the fury. And that's when the world are going to be like, oh shit. They're going to know it's a destruction from the Almighty. Everyone is going to bear witness to it. Every soul on the planet is going to know that the Heavenly Father is visiting the world which He made.
Kahala Yahawah, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Racha Kodesh, Shalom Wahab Labayaf Shal Dawada, Shalom Wahab Lachabaka'aya Shal Yoshala. Double honors to the elders that taught us well, alright, which will be the elders of Great Millstone, HOI, HODC, basically the elders from the house of David, alright, that have been faithful in the ministry, man. Double honors to them. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the subject, confusion of faces. Alright. Now this confusion of faces thing has been misinterpreted in Israel for some time now. And the Spirit has been getting on me to make a video about it. You know, I've been trying to avoid the subject myself for personal reasons, which really I shouldn't have, you know, taken into consideration that we're doing the ministry to please YAHAWASH144, but not men. But the Spirit jumped on me after I heard, you know, the elder apostle Taha rectify what I already thought. Okay.
Hey, oh YAHAWASH144, to us, belong to confusion of faith.
I'm tired of niggas,
To
man.
our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against you.
You know, now, confusion and face part, you know what it actually means? It means shamefaced. Confusion and face part, you know what it actually means? It means shamefaced. Confusion and face part, you know what it actually means? It means shamefaced.
Shamefaced, yeah.
It really doesn't mean you look like another nation, but brothers use that so you have to qualify it, man.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, because, you know, when we fell as a nation, we became shamed, because, you know, you got Negro, Puerto Rican, you know, Dominican, Haitian. Those are all shameful names, you know, because that's not our nationality, you know. You know who our power is, you know.
So let's go back to Nahum. We were in Nahum. Let's go back to Nahum 3.
So the Spirit is definitely tightening loose ends. So I just want to say, Barakatah YAHAWASH144, Dawada YAHAWASH144 for giving me the Spirit to actually do this video. Alright, it's been a long time coming, and Salakia if I took my time with it, but I'm gonna get straight into it. So confusion of faces, or confusion of face. Alright, when you hear the word confusion of face, the first word or words that should come into your mind really the first word that should come into your mind is disgraced. Okay, to be ashamed, humiliated, confounded. All right. It has nothing to do with being an Israelite foreigner. Confusion of face has nothing to do with being an Israelite foreigner. I'll say it one more time. Confusion of face has nothing to do with being an Israelite foreigner or even looking like another nation, because I know a lot of the elders in the camps, a lot of your elders have taught you that confusion of face means to look like another nation, but that's not the case. And that's what we're going to go into. Okay, so first we're going to read the precept, you know, the world famous precept that people use to say the confusion of faces means another nation. But we're going to examine it and get the proper understanding, because when you really get the proper understanding of confusion of faces, you can tackle it from so many angles, and it just, you know, spirals so many precepts, man. It's ridiculous. All right, so let's get into it. Right, so this is Daniel chapter 9 verse 7. This is the verse or the precept that a lot of the camps used to say confusion of face means Israelite foreigner, but that's going to be rectified today through the spirit and power of YAHAWASH144. This is not a pride video. This is not a video to debunk what your elders are teaching. It's just a video to tighten up loose ends, all right? Because no one has really addressed the issue yet, and brothers still have videos out there teaching that confusion of face is Israelite foreigner, which that's not the case. So Daniel chapter 9 verse 7, it says, O Yahweh, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces. Okay, as at this day, to the men of Yahawada and to the inhabitants of Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. Okay, so before I go any further, we're going to look up the word confusion. Okay, we're going to look up the word confusion of faces in the Blue Letter Bible. So, confusion of faces in the Blue Letter Bible. Right, so the Hebrew word for confusion in Lashawan Kodash is Bashath. Okay, Bashath. Now let's see what Bashath means. Okay, so the first set of translations I'm getting is shame, shame. Okay, one is shame, the second one is shame, and the third one is shameful thing. Okay, so you can't get around it. It has nothing to do with how the Israelites look physically. It's more of a spiritual thing. They're ashamed amongst the nations, all right? They're covered with shame. So it has nothing to do with being an Israelite foreigner. Completely nothing to do with it. The Strong's is H1322, all right? And the definition there is shame, confusion, ashamed, greatly shameful thing. So really, it should be shamed faces. So confusion of faces is shamed faces. Okay, being shamed face, being astonished, being humiliated. And we're gonna go further into detail in that, all right? Because when you actually go in the other translations of the Bible, Esau knows what that means, and Esau doesn't know the Bible better than we do. So we need to be getting this thing right. So let's go in the New Living Testament Bible. So this is the New Living Testament, all right? It's important you go into these other translations, because if you're spiritually adept, you can actually use it to further expound on certain topics, because sometimes it gives you more insight on what the precept is actually saying. But with that said, not always, because sometimes it goes off. That's why you got to be skilled in the spirit, man. You got to be good with the sword, all right? So this is Daniel chapter 9 and verses 7, the New Living Testament, better known as NLT Bible. It says, Lord, you are in the right, comma, but as you see, our faces are covered with shame. So notice it didn't even say confusion of faces. It says our faces are covered with shame, because being a confusion of face means being in a state of humiliation or being in a state of astonishment, you know, being astonished, being confounded. Yeah, really, that's the word, confounded. We have been confounded before our enemies. Okay, we're better than them at everything, but yet we're still at the bottom of the barrel. That's us being shamefaced or being confusion of face. All right, so I'm going to read that again. Daniel chapter 9 verse 7, New Living Testament. Lord, you are in the right, but as you see, our faces are covered with shame. This is true of all of us, including the people of Judah and Jerusalem and all Israel scattered near and far, wherever you have driven us, because of our disloyalty to you. Okay, so the Lord has confounded us before all the nations because we broke his commandments, mainly because we're serving other gods. All right, Islam, Christianity, yeah, and all these other pagan religions which were given to the heathens, like the Lord said in Deuteronomy 4 and 19. All right, our power is YAHAWASH144. That's who we need to serve. Now let's move on. Right, this is Jeremiah chapter 2 verses 26. It says, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets. Okay, because why? Israel was caught sinning, just like what happened in the Garden of Eden when they hid themselves, and the Most High found them. And he said, why are you hiding yourself? Oh, because we are ashamed of. Really, Adam was the first confusion of face. He was ashamed of his trespass, so he tried to hide himself amongst the nations, man. And the Most High dug him out and found him, and said, why are you hiding for? He said, oh, because I'm naked, because I don't have that spiritual covering from Exodus 32 and 25. Don't forget, when the Israelites made the golden calf, they became shamed face. They became confusion of face. They became naked before their enemies. They were shamed. Okay, I'm going to go into that one as well. So this is Jeremiah 2 and 26 again. It says, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets. So this is the same precept as Daniel chapter 9 verse 7. Okay, because the prophet Daniel, the prophet Daniel and the prophet Jeremiah were in the same spirit. And for the most part, the prophets, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets, and the spirit of the prophets are confederate with the prophets, meaning they're all in one accord. So you brothers out there that are spiritual are going to take this thing up quickly. It's not going to be a debate thing, all right? So it says, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets. That's the same as the Daniel chapter 9 verse 7. You can't get around this. Okay, this has nothing to do with looking like another nation. All right, so get that out of your medulla oblongata and stop teaching other people that, because it says anyone who adds to the word or takes from the word shall be guilty of the damnation, especially when you know Yahawashi is an austere man. All right, so this is Jeremiah 2:26. I'm going with the New International Version with this one. It says, as a thief is disgraced when he is caught, so the people of Israel are disgraced. They, their kings, their officials, their priests, and their prophets. So as you can see, this has nothing to do with looking like another nation. This is talking about being disgraced. You can't get around it. It's as plain as day. All right, let's move on. Right, this is the book of Psalms, Psalm 44 verse 15, Malak Dawadah himself. Because don't forget, the Lord said, I'm raising up the tabernacle of David, okay, and I'll build it up as in the days of old. So who better to bring it out for us than Malak Dawadah himself, who was feeling confusion of face. He was, because he clearly showed it here. This is Psalms 44 verse 15. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face have covered me. That's confusion of face right there. He said, my confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face have covered me. So David was feeling confusion of face. Malak Dawadah was feeling confusion of face. He was feeling humiliated and ashamed because of the trials and the tribulations he was facing, man. All right. And when he trespassed against YAHAWASH144 by reason of Bathsheba, taking another man's wife, committing adultery. So sin causes confusion of face, and confusion of face doesn't mean looking like another nation. It means being ashamed, being humiliated. And I'm going to further expound on that. Right, this is Psalms 44 verse 15. I'm going to go with the NLT with it. It says, we can't escape the constant humiliation. Shame is written across our faces. That's confusion of face right there. Okay, so confusion, or to be confounded, is humiliation. Because when you confound someone, what do you do to them? You humiliate them. Okay, so Psalms 44 verse 15, NLT, New Living Translation. We can't escape the constant humiliation. Shame is written across our faces. So as you can clearly see, it has nothing to do with looking like another nation. All right, because King David looked like a straight up Judite. Yeah, he looked like a straight up Judite. Solomon said, I am black but beautiful, unmistakably a Jake. So it had nothing to do with confusion of faces. All right, sorry, it had nothing to do with looking like another nation, like they teach confusion of faces to be. That's a wrong breakdown. All right, so the elders in Israel that are teaching that, when you watch the video, just eat the humble pie, you know, tighten up loose edges, and let's keep marching. All right, so we got more from Malak Dawadah, King David. For those of you that don't know, the Lashawan Kodash, Malak means king, Dawadah is David, the Lashawan Kodash. All right, so when we say Malak Dawadah, we're saying King David. And we're going back to Psalms with it. So we're going to read Psalms 35 and verse 4. It says, let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. That's confusion of face. So King David, through the spirit and power of YAHAWASH144, is putting a curse on his enemies and saying, let our enemies become confusion of face. Remove the reproach from us and put it on our enemies. Just like it says in Deuteronomy, the Lord said he will take the curses off us and put it on them. So King David was invoking that right here because he had read Deuteronomy 30 and 7 and understood that the Most High could turn the hands of time. Okay? So he was in the right spirit, man. Because King David, Malak Dawadah used to meditate on the precepts of YAHAWASH144 day and night. That's why that's why he came out with the Psalms, man. All right? Just so the Tabernacle of David in 2019 can read it and be spiritually energized to march on in this fight, because like I keep saying, the Most High is raising up the Tabernacle of David, so focus on that. That's if you really want to be part of the A-team. You have to be in the same spirit, man. All right, so let's read that one more time. Psalms 35 and 4. Let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. There goes your confusion of face again. So as you can see, it has nothing to do with looking like another nation. Let's move on. Right, this is Psalms 35 and 4, the New Living Translation. It says, bring shame and disgrace to those trying to kill me. Turn them back and humiliate those who want to harm me. So as you can clearly see, confusion of face has nothing to do with looking like another nation. It's talking about being humiliated, being shamed, being disgraced. You can't get around it. I just can't see how you can make a doctrine out of this teaching that it looks like the Most High is trying to say we're looking like the other nations. There's precepts on that, which we will get to that. But let's deal with this confusion of face thing, because it's been going on for a very long time and no one seems to be addressing it. All right. And the Spirit has been bugging me all week to do this video. So I need to get this off my chest. So we're in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 32 and verse 21. We're going to give an example of being a confusion of face. All right. It says, and the Lord sent an angel which cut off all the mighty men of valor and the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. So he returned with shame of face to his own land. Okay. Confusion of face, shame of face, humiliation. This was a clear example of that. All right. All right. This is 2 Chronicles 32 and 21. NLT. It says, and the Lord sent an angel who destroyed the Assyrian army with all its commanders and officers. So Sennacherib was forced to return home in disgrace. All right. So shamed face, confusion of face is also disgrace, or being disgraced. All right. Being humiliated. Like we showed you in the Psalms 44 and 15 precept when it got NLT'd. All right. So it's not hard to be understood. And there's so many precepts, it's ridiculous. But for some reason, when you teach that doctrine, that confusion of faces means looking like another nation, it seems like that's the only precept, you know, that you can really find. And the one that you can add to it is saying the same thing, which is Ezra 9 and 7. It practically says the same thing, word for word. So something's not adding up there. But when you tackle it the right way, when you break it down the correct way, which is being shamefaced or being confounded, there's so many precepts, it's ridiculous. It's irrefutable facts. All right. Anyway, let's move on. All right. So we're going to take it to Ezekiel chapter 16 with it. So I'm going to start from the 61st verse. All right. Ezekiel 16 and 61. Then thou shalt remember thy ways and be ashamed when thou shalt receive thy sisters, thine elder and thy younger, and I will give them unto thee for daughters, but not by thy covenant. Now let's jump down to verse 63. Ezekiel 16 and 63. That thou mayest remember and be confounded, and never open thy mouth anymore because of thy shame. Okay, confusion of face right there. Thou shalt be confounded and never open thy mouth anymore because of thy shame, when I am pacified toward thee for all thou hast done, saith the Lord. Power. So that's another example of confusion of face, or confounded, to be confounded and to be shamed, all in the same verse. You can't get around it. You can't get around it. All right. For you brothers that say, you know, you're sharp with it, you got 100% truth. I mean, you got to swallow this one right up, man. Okay, because I mean, it's irrefutable facts. The proof is in the pudding. So let's eat. Let's dine. Let's dine together, man. Because this is spiritual food. All right. So let's eat it. Let's swallow it all up and be spiritually nourished. Because we're trying to fortify the tabernacle. Anyway, let's move on. All right. Let's give an example of the Most High saying he's gonna make Esau or the Edomites confusion of face. All right, or to be ashamed, or to be humiliated. This is Isaiah 47 and verse 3. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, I will not meet thee as a man. So the Lord said he's going to uncover the shame of Esau. Okay, he's going to put it right on their faces so everyone can see that they are confusion of face. He's going to humiliate them. All right. And how is he going to uncover their skirt? By exposing them using the men of the Lord. And that's what he's doing now. All right. And the reason why he used this analogy and saying thy nakedness shall be uncovered, meaning when you lift up the skirt of a whore, what do you see when you lift up the skirt of a whore? Well, let's find out. Now this is to deal with the jealousy law. This is Numbers 5:21. It says, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing. And the priest shall say unto the woman, the Lord make thee a curse and an oath among thy people, when the Lord doth make thy thigh to rot and thy belly to swell. And this is the water that causeth the curse shall go into thy bowels to make thy belly to swell and thy thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen. And the priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall blot them out with the bitter water. So basically, if a woman cheats on her husband, okay, or if a woman is suspected to be cheating on her husband, the priest has to get the bitter water that causeth the belly to swell and make her drink it. And if she has cheated on her husband, her thighs will begin to rot. That's why a lot of these bitches that you see, they got a lot of cellulite, because they're whores, man. When you lift up the skirt, when they wear the jeans, they look all cute. But when you lift up the skirt or they take the jeans off, you see a lot of cellulite because they've had so much sperm in them. And that's the recompense of their error, which was meat from YAHAWASH144. That's how you're able to tell who a slut is. Okay, their thighs are all rotten. They got a lot of cellulite on their thighs as well. Alright, and that's disgusting and despicable. And that's the same terminology that the Most High is using in that Isaiah 47:3 when he said that nakedness shall be uncovered, because he's going to lift the skirt of the harlot, which is America, okay, because that's where Esau's power structure is really based at. Esau's military power or military might is demonstrated through that nation America. All right, that's the pinnacle of his power. So the Lord said he's going to lift up the skirt of the Americans, and everyone's going to see that they have rotten thighs, and the nations are going to hate the whore. They're going to be like, right, you're just a slut, man. And what happens to a slut? Leviticus 21:9. And the daughter of any priest, if she play the harlot, she shall be burned with fire. Okay, she shall be burned with fire. So that's what the nations are going to do. They're going to turn against America and they're going to burn her with fire. So you see, the Most High is playing this whole movie out using the laws, man. So you Christians that are saying the laws are done away with, without the laws, there wouldn't be no storyline. So you got to know how to connect the dots, put the pieces together. Okay, the gospel is deeper than you people think. We're just scratching the surface, man. But let's focus on this confusion of face thing, all right? Confusion of face has nothing to do with looking like another nation, but it has everything to do with being humiliated, being ashamed, confounded, and disgraced. All right, I'll get a couple more precepts and then we'll call it a day. Right, so this is Isaiah chapter 30 and verses 3. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. And in that case, that's talking about the leaders, the leaders in society, okay, or the leader of America, Donald Trump. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, because he's the modern day Pharaoh. Whoever's ruling America today is the Pharaoh of our time. Isaiah 30:3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's confusion of face right there. Okay? Because don't forget, confusion of face means shame, or to be ashamed. So the Lord said, those of you that trust in this system, because he told you, arise ye and depart. So those of you that trust in this system shall be confusion of face. I hope you're getting some understanding now. Right, this is Jeremiah 3:25. It says, we lie down in our shame, and our confusion covereth us, for we have sinned against the Lord our power, we and our fathers from our youth even unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our power, Yahweh. So that's the same precept as the Daniel 9:7 one. Okay, the same thing. Go and do your research. You'll notice it's the same thing he's quoting. Now, let's go to Jeremiah 13 and 26. It says, therefore, I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. Because when the skirts get lifted up, don't forget the thighs are rotten. So that's shame. That's humiliation. So the Lord said, I will put the humiliation on your face. That's confusion of face right there. Okay, because don't forget, confusion, okay, bashaf in the Hebrew means what? Shame. But the Lord said, I will put that shame on your face. So that's confusion of face right there. So Jeremiah 13 and 26, therefore will I discover thy skirts upon thy face, that thy shame may appear. All right. So confusion of face has nothing to do with looking like another nation. Now, let's deal with the precepts that apply to looking like the other nations. Right, this is Hosea 7 and 8. It says, Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Now, this precept can be used to say that the Israelites look like the other nations, because it clearly says, we've mixed ourselves among the people. And a cake not turned, meaning one side is light, one side is dark, meaning they can look like an Edomite, which Edomites have very raw, flesh. They don't have that dark pigment that we do. That's why they go in them tan spas and pay a lot of money to get melanin injected into them so they can get that brown effect. All right. So this precept here can be used to say that we look like the other nations. So I'm going to read that again. Hosea 7 and 8. Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Ephraim is a representation for the 10 tribes. Okay, the northern kingdom. And that's a whole lot of tribes. So that applies. You can use that one. All right. And when you jump down to verse 9, it says, strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not, because the heathens have taken them over. All right. It's like Esau has consumed the 10 tribes into his I want to use the word bullshit, but into his philosophies, man, because they're heavily into Catholicism. All right. And they speak Spanish as well. So they're basically like the conquistadors now. They've been utterly destroyed, man. Esau is sitting on them. Like it says in Isaiah 14, thou hast said in thine heart that I will ascend into the heavens, and I will also sit on the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. You see, the North America, Esau went there and just conquered all the tribes, and he's just sitting on them right now, sitting comfortably, but the Lord is getting ready to upset it. All right, let's get another one. Right, this is Jeremiah 12 and 9. It says, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. Okay, a speckled bird is a bird with different colors, yeah? The birds round about are against her. Yeah, the other nations hate us. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. The heathen nations setting up shop in our communities and exploiting us week in, week out. All right? Whether you want to believe it or not, the Israelites make the world go round. Without us, you nations wouldn't have no wealth. So, what other precept can I even bring out? I think for the most part, I brought out all the precepts that you need at this moment to get an understanding of what this confusion of face thing is about. All right, if I haven't brought out any precept which can make a valid point, just leave it on the comment board. And if you disagree with this, leave your comments on the comment board. All right, it doesn't hurt to contribute, because we're all trying to help each other out. It says, iron sharpeneth iron, so doth a man sharpeneth the countenance of his fellow. And with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash, Shalom Wa'ahab Labayaf Shal Dawada. Double honors to the apostles and elders that taught us well. Salutations to you brothers that are pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Kwam Yasha.